Hello everyone, welcome to Property Zone Live. I'm Sean here. Very good evening on a Thursday evening. So today our topic is actually property synopsis that you can't miss in 2019, before we draw the curtain to end the year. So today we'll be doing a little bit different. So throughout the whole 2019 in our Property Zone Live session, we actually received some questions from our audience. Some of us have not met, but also we actually received questions from property agents as well. So today's session, we actually conclude and summarize some of the questions that we have gathered, and I would like to take this opportunity to share with some of you. So let's start. Welcome back, everyone. So, as I mentioned to you, today we'll be doing a little bit different, that we will actually gather the questions, and then we will actually share with some of the answers. My thought, personally, then to cater for the questions. The first one is actually a question from Jesse from Cheras. So, in the question he posed to us, he says he's looking to buy a property for investment, which is nearby an MRT station. But the price is slightly higher compared to the surrounding, which is further away. Then he asked whether it's justifiable or not. So I think this is a very valid question, because nowadays people want to stay close to public transportation, especially like LRT and MRT station. But is the extra premium worthwhile to pay? Maybe let me share with you some of the data. In general, statistically, it has shown us property that is within walking distance to MRT station or LRT station, generally it has an appreciation rate of 15% higher compared to the surrounding area. Of course, there's a premium. Also, we look at a country who have an MRT way before us. For example, Taiwan, Singapore. They also have registered this kind of growth rate for the property nearby the MRT, LRT station. Also another statistic, maybe some of you may not know, when the line is set up, for example, MRT, I give you a scenario in Malaysia in comparison to Taiwan. If you set up an MRT line and you put, let's say, KLCC as a center, all right, MRT station tends to benefit more to the area that's further away from the CBD. So in other case, it will be more beneficial to the Cheras and also the Kajang area, or further towards the Rawang area. So, in short, property with is further away from CBD, but is connecting to the MRT or LRT line, they will actually see a better growth rate in terms of property appreciation. Now, second thing, Jesse, if you are here listening, I just want to be careful. Sometimes when you look at the brochure, especially you're buying under construction, you have not been to the physical property. But if you look at the brochure, the property mentioned that the MRT station is just 700 meters away. Okay, do calculations, 700 meters is walking distance. But of course, sometimes we have to do our due diligence. My advice is take a walk yourself from the site and go to the MRT station and see whether this is a walking experience that you can take it. I have a friend who actually wanted to buy a property near MRT station. So he actually took a walk, and he found out that this is beyond his expectation. What it means is that to walk to the 700-meter station away, he have to cross a 4-lane busy road, okay? Almost like risking his life. And after he crossed the road, he need to walk on a very narrow road shoulder when the car is passing by like a train. And after that, he need to climb down a very steep stair, walk across an industrial area, before he can reach the MRT station. So this is just going one way. Imagine you have to go, when you come home and taking an MRT, you have to do the same thing again. So you feel that this is actually not a walking distance that he is expected, even though it's 600-700 meters away. So my advice is always do a due diligence, always do the site visit, and if can, always walk one round yourself to see, to feel the journey yourself. Okay? Oh, let's come back to the MRT also. So the general consensus is that if you have MRT station nearby, it provides a lot of convenience, connectivity, accessibility for the people who are living in the property. But my experience is that look beyond that. Why? Let me give you an example. MRT is actually one of the biggest infrastructures has been planned by our government. I think in the region of 20-22 billions. Huge project. So the line starts from all the way from Rawang and all the way to Kajang. So think about this. Along the line, there are so many stations along. Do you think the government would just close one eye and simply pick one point and become the station? Or do you think they will do research? If you think they will do research, what kind of research do you think they are doing or they have done? A general understanding is population. Why? I give you an example. If those of you are taking LRT line that was passing by Puchong area, you realize there are 3 LRT stations within 2 kilometers. Yes, 3 LRT stations within 2 kilometers right in front of IQI Puchong. Why? Whereby in another area of the line, you don't even see one station within 2 km. The reason is very simple. It all comes back to population. So in other words, the point I'm going to drive to you is very simple. If you're buying a property nearby the MRT station, what you're actually getting is not just an easy connectivity and accessibility to the station, but you also invest or you're buying into the area whereby has been pinpointed by the government through the research. This has been underlined and this has been identified as a population growth, population concentrated and with a huge future growth rate. As you know, property appreciation, how property is doing in a particular area has very much to do with population. So in other words, if you summarize your questions, Jesse, yes, of course, investing in a property nearby MRT is, of course, there's an advantage part. If you're looking to hold for a long term, of course, I think the appreciation rate should be able to exceed the small premium that you're paying, as long as it's not too much. Of course, the population growth already identified by the government. Before that, take a walk yourself to get the feel for yourself as well. Wow. Hello Carol. Hello Brian. Timothy, Joshua, see who is watching. And Wilson as well. Okay. So this is the question regarding MRT, RT. The second questions I have is actually from MK, from PJ. So MK is asking this question. He say, his question is, I know government policy is impacting, affecting property prices. What are the government policy news that I can look out for? And what are the current one is important to us? I think that's a very good question, very good questions. And before I go into that, let me illustrate in a simple example how government policy has huge impact on their citizen, especially human behavior. If you're familiar with the term, or you've been familiar with the China market, there's this term called 碰瓷. 碰瓷, if you're not familiar, I think you've seen the video before. Basically what it does is, if a person is driving a car in China, out of nowhere, another person just come out, even you didn't hit the guy will actually, acting. He will actually fell down the road and that's crying and acting is like injured badly. And what he did next? He will ask money from you. And why? Why there are so many people are doing this and they're doing this like an occupation? The reason is very simple. Because in China's policy, if a bicycle hit a pedestrian, it's always a bicycle fault. if a motorcycle hit a bicycle, it's always the motorcycle's fault. And if the car hit anything, it's always the car's fault. So when the policy is implemented in this way, it will actually leave an impact on how people will behave. This is on day-to-day life. Imagine we are investing in the biggest asset in our life, probably. I'm talking about property. So we cannot ignore the fact that government policy has huge impact on how people, whether it's property buyer, property investor, or property flipper, will behave in the short, medium to long-term term. So if you are actually looking at government policy, I think we are on the right page. And for me, I think the government policy is very general, it's very huge. But if in order to stream down the three things I'm actually watching out for, and I wanted to share with MK and perhaps the rest of you, is that first, you have to look at the interest rate movement. Why? Because interest rate has a huge impact on how people behave in terms of investing, borrowing, expanding their business. I have shared with some of you before is that the vivid example is 2008 when the subprime crisis happened. The whole world economy, especially US, come to a halt. Basically, the market activity just stopped. So in order to push up and to spur up the economic activities in the market, the US government at the time, they did something called quantitative easing measurement. In short, we call QE. And one of the things is reducing the interest rate drastically. Over the 14 months, they reduced the interest rate by 5%. From 5.25, it dropped to 0.25%. So that kind of huge move, it created a wave towards a lot of countries, including Malaysia. Malaysia interest rate, effective mortgage rate has dropped by about 3% then. So what you're seeing there is that the installment become cheaper. So when the installment become cheaper, people will do two things. First, they will actually use some of the savings they have and spend, or they can actually afford a more expensive house, but paying the same installment. So in this case, people who can usually pay for the installment for 500,000, suddenly they feel that they are paying the same installment amount for 700,000. So these are one of the driving factors between the relationship of currency and asset. Hi, Victor. Hi, Xiang. Hi, SK. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. So interest rate, in general, what we are seeing, if the interest rate normally is coming down, they will actually have two impacts. First, encouraging more borrowing, encouraging more business expansion. Second, they reduce the desire, they reduce the motivation of depositing the money into the bank and earn interest rate because interest rate is coming down. So with these two, is actually a positive factor for property growth, property price appreciation. So interest rate alone, but the second thing a lot of people not many of us are aware is actually the changes of the SRR or RRR. SRR stands for Statutory Reserve Requirement, or RRR, triple R, stands for Reserve Requirement Ratio. So what it means is like this. Basically, this is a thing set up by Bank Negara to determine how much money a bank need to keep. If, for example, if one person is deposit 100 million to me is a public bank, for example, I can't lend out the whole 100 millions. If the reserve requirement is set at 5%, the max I can lend out is 95 million. But if the SRR is reduced by a certain percentage, bank as a financial institution can lend out a lot more. And when I lend the money out to the market, they will have domino effects. So in other words, the recent drop in SRR by the Bank Negara will create, I think, around 67 billions of liquidity to the market. Liquidity is the bloodline, credit is the bloodline for property market to move on. So these are very important factors as well. Interest rate, SRR, And of course, this year we have recently witnessed the budget announcement for the next year. And out of it, I pick up one important signal the government is sending out. Note previous year when the government announced that if you have property, even though you actually hold it for more than 5 years, you still have to pay the 5% RPGT. Actually, for a lot of property investors, especially they've invested in 20, 30 years, the 5% on their gain is a lot. So this year, the government made a bit of tweaking to lay the framework for 2020. They changed the base year from 2000 to 2013. So what it actually sent out the signal to the market, I would say that this is actually this is an easing measurement for the housing. So you look at housing policy, always is cooling measurement and easing measurement. So in this RBHT, there is sending out a signal for easing measurement. So interest rate, statutory requirement statutory reserve requirement or RRR, reserve requirement ratio plus the RBGT. In general, I'm seeing a more relaxing, more easing housing measurement the government is bringing out and sending out to the market. Okay, so for those of you just tuning in, you're watching, please share and like our session. I very much appreciate it. And this week we are giving out the prize. The prize is actually a Wi-Fi HD action camera. Okay, for those of you who want to own a piece of this for your Christmas without spending any money, post a question in our comment. The most interesting questions that you post in this comment, in the comment side, we'll pick up and the gift is yours. Okay, with this, we take a short break. I will come back to you and I got 3 more questions sending out from the audience. I hope I will take this opportunity to share with you as well. Okay, let's break. Hello, welcome back everyone. If you just tune in, I just want to let you know this session is about the property synopsis in 2019. And today we are doing it in the Q&A session in a way that we have collected questions throughout the year, and I would answer some of the questions that I picked and share with all of you in these sessions. So I'm coming to the third questions. The third question is actually from Mr. Tan, Malacca. So he asked, he finds that some of the Soho, Sovo, the pricing is very interesting, very attractive, can still invest. So he put can still invest. This is my personal opinion I will share with you. Among all, I would think Soho is a traditional product because Soho is governed by HDA, Housing Development Act, with the word small office, home office. So with the H, it actually put this product into HDA products. That means that it's not just a pure commercial product. But Sofo, without going into details, I'm just talking about in general. The product, how it comes about is the Sovo and Sofo basically is a product coming out, introduced by a developer to circumvent the LTV 70%. Basically, if you invest in this commercial property, you can actually invest without putting 30% down payment. So if you get a loan of 85%, if the developer is giving 10% rebate, you actually have to fork out only 5%, even though you own 2 mortgages. Okay? Sounds like a good plan because some product is allowed you to get on the bus easy. Get on the bus. In Chinese, we call 上車,容易上車. But the ultimate goal is, I think nobody, I would say nobody, very few people plans to own the property indefinitely. At some point of their life, they plan to exit. So if you want to invest in property, you can't just think of how to get on a bus. You must have a concrete plan and when and how you want to get off the bus. So in other words, if you want to invest, Mr. Tan, I hope you're hearing me, if you are watching this session. If you want to invest in the SOFO, which in my opinion is a product to circumvent this LTV 70%. So if you get on the bus, easy. Can you get off the bus with a concrete plan? Do you know who is your future audience? Who is your future buyer that will buy from you? Can you sell to a very wide market? Can you sell to only very niche market? I think that will determine how your price will fare in future. And then second thing you also have to take into consideration is, would the future financing be favorable to this kind of property as well? So you can talk to some of your bankers, because banks, they have different financing guidelines in terms of how much loan margin they want to give out. In general, a property, if you can't get a high margin from a property, from a bank, the market normally is not so favorable. So this is my opinion. Of course, in details, I did not know which project you look, but in general, SOFO, you have to understand and go through the thing I mentioned to you, Mr. Tan. Okay? Thank you for your question, Mr. Tan. So the next one is a question regarding directly to RPGT. So this is the question by Yvonne. Okay, Yvonne is from KL. So Yvonne, he mentioned in the question that he got an offer. Well, now as a property owner, these 2 years is rather slow. If you get an offer, people offer to buy a property, I think it's very good. Congratulations, Yvonne. So he got an offer that somebody want to buy over her property. Okay, her property now the offer price is 700,000. Yvonne bought the property for 300,000 in the year of 2008. So it's more 11 years ago. Pretty handsome gain. So on paper, she make 400,000. So she got an offer, she said whether I should sign an SPA this year and conclude everything and put everything behind, or should she wait if looking at the saving from RBGT. So this is my calculation for you, Yvonne. 700,000, this is the offer that you got. 300,000 is your cost. So on paper, you make 400,000. So if you conclude and stamp your SPA within this year, you're looking to pay, in general, rough, before all the deduction, gross, your profit 400,000 times 5%. You're looking to pay about 20,000 RPGT. Okay? If your SPA is to be signed and stamped after next year, which is 2020, and after the law being gazetted, assuming the price you got, the offer you got is still 700,000, if they move the tax base year, instead of 2000, they become 2013. Let's say 2013, I don't know your property price 2013 because I don't know where is it. Let's assume it's 650,000 because there was a prime of a Malaysian market price at that time. So you make about 50,000 gain between 2013 and now, because this is a rough calculation. So you make a 50,000 times a 5%, so you're paying 2.5K, which is 2,500 ringgit versus the 20,000. Of course, from the cost saving wise, it is worthwhile to wait a little bit. But of course, you need to secure your buyer and make sure he agrees with it and sign the necessary, because as you know, in a slow market, if the buyer pass by, genuine buyer pass by, it may take a while. So calculation wise, the saving is this, it's 20,000 versus 2,005 gross. But dealing with it, I think you have to check with the lawyer and how to secure the deal. Make sure, even if you can wait a bit, make sure the case didn't go wasted. Okay, that's my advice to you. Okay, let's come to this last question for today. Wow, I think very hot topic recently, since last year until now. And it's posed by the guy I think he used his nickname lah. He say he's property newbie. Property newbie. But the question he asked me is compressed loan. Okay? So he say he's very new to property investment. That's why he say he's a property newbie. Then he said he's recently through a consultant. He actually ventured into this compressed loan. So he got 4 loans approved from different banks. And because the project he buy, each of them giving back about 75,000 cash back. So he got about 300,000 cash back. So at that he said he's very excited. Then of course there are people around him advise him, no, it's a risk kind of thing. You should think twice before you venture. So he asked me, shall he or shall he not go into this? So let's put it this way, property newbie. I don't know your name. I will just say, mention to you, property newbie. Compressed loan, I think, is a gray area in many perspectives. If I want to put it in a metaphor, as easy example, what is compressed loan? Whether you should or should not do it. I'm normally looking at these things. If you invest in a property, you have a financial destination you want to go. You want to reach and achieve certain thing and reach certain place by certain time. Think about this. It's no different like today you are in KL, you want to go to Penang as fast as possible. Okay? Going to a place that you want to be within certain period of time. If you have been driving a Toyota all this while, that means you have been a regular guy driving a Toyota this while, but suddenly I'm giving the most powerful Ferrari for you to drive from KL to Penang, and I give you the best fuel, and suddenly your car used to be 120 horsepower, become 400 horsepower. Of course, if you can manage it well, you will reach your destination a lot faster than most people. But the thing is, if you have not driven a Ferrari, taking such a, I wasn't risky, but I would say adventurous journey at the first goal, is it something you want to take on? So I think this is a question you need to ask yourself. And the second advice is, as a human being, we are all human, we are not machine. All human has a different human nature. We have different personality. But in general, what I found, the things I gather is this. If one person has never earned 300,000, it's very hard for a person to manage 300,000. Because the cashback that you receive is, I would say, is a reserve fund, not just for the construction period. The construction may take 3-4 years, but you have to look beyond the construction periods, that when, during the raining days, if 2 or even 3 out of the units you cannot rent out, do you have other contingency plan or not? Okay, that's the first question you need to ask. First is, the 300,000, are you going to spend in the holiday? Are you going to spend on getting the phone that you want, Christmas is coming? Do you have that kind of discipline to keep the money? Second thing is, you need to calculate beyond the completion date. So, if the market is not moving in a way that favors to you, do you have any contingency plan? Do you have a way to increase your active income aggressively? So these are the few questions you need to ask yourself. I cannot give you the definite answer because everybody is different, but I think this is a question you need to ask yourself. Do you have that kind of discipline? Do you have that kind of growth or platform for you to increase your active income aggressively as a contingency plan, just in case the rainy day comes and the rain stay longer than your expectation? So I hope you get my point. So basically these are the 5 questions we have picked up along the line. So moving forward to 2020, we hope that people are watching, share with us, pose a bit more questions so that we can get a better feel of what we can prepare, because it takes some time for us to prepare the answer as well. Then we can actually share with you. It will not just benefit you, it will benefit for A1 as well. Okay, so before I end the sessions, thank you very much for watching again. Do like, share our session, our page, and those of you post a question in the comment. The interesting questions will actually walk away with our lucky prize this week, and it's actually a Wi-Fi action camera. Okay, with this, I want to thank you again for your time spent with me, Sean here. If I do see you again, Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to check out even more fun, entertaining, awesome content, please log on to our IQI Network website. And please don't forget to subscribe to our IQI official YouTube channel for the latest update and contents. I see you all there.